So I stopped modeling. I remember there was no money. I didn't know how to pay my rent. I didn't know how to. I had a dog, and he used to eat non-veg, and I used to eat veg. And and I'd look at his food; it looked better than mine. And I'd be like, no, but these are the sacrifices maybe I need to make right now, and that's what I did. Thomas Edison, the guy who gave us light and light bulbs. Imagine कितने light bulbs उसने fuse किए होंगे, or must have blown up before he got to the right light bulb. हमारा भी वैसी ही journey है. हर इंसान की वैसी journey है. You can't give up. But each light bulb that he blew taught him what not to do with the next one.
Hi guys, this is Ankita. You're tuned into PeepingMoon.com. And how are we supposed to introduce someone today on our show? Let's put it this way: 20 years into the industry, from being one of the best models on the ramp to someone who is actually stealing hearts still now, we have Arjun Rampal, who is going to brighten up your morning for sure. Hi Arjun, how are you?
Hey Ankita, how are you?
I'm good. Arjun, let's start with this. 20 years, 2 decades. It's not an easy run. This industry is not one of the easiest places to survive. If you look back today, how you look at it?
Yeah, I think it went by pretty fast. This is an industry where time can go really slow, and there have been those times with me where you have to be really patient and wait for work to come along your way, or go looking for work and you don't find the kind of work that you want to do, and then there also suddenly it comes like a lot of work comes, and then you just don't know what to do with yourself, and you don't have time, and you're like, please, I want to go back to that other time where there was no work, or cut down on your work. So it's been ups and downs, and that's part and parcel of life. I think in any profession, in any career, you are going to have a lot of hits. You're going to have lots of misses. You're going to have high points. You're going to have low points, and I think I've had a share bit of both, which brought me to 20 years. And I think I'm pretty fit after 20 years, so not bad. It's not damaged me that badly.
Arjun, you were one of the most successful imports from ramps to the screen. Because before you and we had Aishwarya and Sushmita, and there are only a handful of few people who started from modeling and actually made it big in Bollywood. And you have been one of those very few successful people out here who made it big in Bollywood. Because if you remember, models were always considered they can't act, it's too plastic, they can't do it. Do you still battle that kind of maybe sometimes the same kind of impression from the people around you, that they still think
No,
in the
I
same
think
mold?
I think see what happens is stereotypes in question is sometimes, and for me, my whole challenge was to break that stereotype, and I love those kind of challenges. Sometimes and so that was one definitely where model there was a stigma attached because there were a lot of actors who were supermodels, male models who um, came into the industry, and unfortunately for them, their first films didn't, resonate, or they didn't resonate with the audience on that level. So, and those films didn't do well, and so all that blame was put onto that poor guy, and it wasn't given many more opportunities after that, and people just said, "A model, and models can't act." There was, but you also have to look like where does that come from? And for me, it came from a place where when I saw myself, when I saw my first rushes, when I was shooting for this film Moksha, I just felt that yeah, there's something off. Why am I like this in front of the camera? And it suddenly dawned on me that the medium is the same. The camera rolls, somebody says action, all of that. But for so many years, you've been put in front of the camera to do something completely different. Is to look good only, right? So you are looking at your profile. You stand in a particular way. It's just a reflex that comes out in a particular manner. And when you have to act, you can't even think where the camera is. You have to forget the camera. You have to be lost. You have to be in that character. You have to be speaking those words, breathing those words, saying all of that. And when I saw the first rushes, I said, "Oh my God, this is terrible. I'm awful. And like this is just not happening." And so I made a conscious decision at that point to stop modeling. And I had no idea that my first film is going to take 5 years to get made. So I was stuck unemployed without any work. And but it was just this resilience in me which said no, because every time I go to model, I have to be a different person, and when I come to act, it is a totally different skill set I need. And of course, I was not that skilled still as an actor, because it was something I was discovering and I was finding, how am I going to go about it. And I was in good hands. There was Ashok Mehta there, but still I felt that, kya kar raha hu main? And so I stopped modeling. I remember there was no money. I didn't know how to pay my rent. I didn't know how to. I had a dog, and he used to eat non-veg, and I used to eat veg. And and I'd look at his food; it looked better than mine. And I'd be like, no, but these are the sacrifices maybe I need to make right now, and that's what I did. And I had a really wonderful landlord, uh, where I had not made rent for 2-3 months in a row. And he used to just see me, work and, wait and be patient. And he's like, "Teri picture khatam ho gayi." I was like, "Nahi, ab tak nahi khatam hui." So he said, "Beta, don't worry. I think one day you'll be a big star. And, and I know you will pay me when you have the money." So he was very, very sweet. Okay, he was a Mr. Singh, is a Sardarji gentleman. Okay, and I'll always be grateful to him for the kindness that he showed at that time. And then slowly, slowly, I got Rajiv's film, and then Pyar Ishq Aur Mohabbat became my first film, and it was more of a commercial film. And audiences really liked me in that, so there was an acceptance. And then from there, Bashu gave me Divanapan, there was Aake, and then, it started. So, and then as I said, then suddenly there's a lot of work. And yeah, so, you have great memories, you remember all these things, and to know and to keep all of that within you, I think helps you to realize that no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult it becomes, okay, listen to your heart. If you listen to your heart and you say, nahi, yahi karna hai, and your heart tells you, yeah, nahi, yahi kar, theek hai,
That's so
uh,
lovely.
yeah, then you're okay.
Arjun, there was also a time when practically there was no movie which we were not seeing you in. Awards were pouring, praises were showering in, and there was a certain kind of time also just right after that. Was a, I wouldn't say a dip, it was just a different trajectory. Maybe some films didn't work the way you would have thought they would when you signed them. Because as I've been talking to actors, and it's right, not every time what you read on a script is not something which translates into the screen. When you see a dizzying height of success, does the low impacts you even that harder, or you learn it throughout the journey that you don't have to take both of them seriously?
Everything teaches you something, is how I approach my work, right? You say yes to a film because you believe in it. Okay, you do the film because you believe in it. Okay, and if you've had a good time making that film, that's the most important thing. What's the fate of the film is not in our hands. So everybody will be giving blockbusters after blockbusters. Okay, but it's the process. I think that's what's in my hand, and that's all I can control. What Once it goes to the audience, it's up to the audiences how they want to accept it. Yes, there have been many films which I had high hopes on. Okay, that these films are going to be there, but then, am I disappointed if those films didn't do well? No, because those are the films I want in my filmography. You know, I wouldn't do a film where, at least today or in the past, I would say 4 or 5 years of my career, okay, all the films that I've done, there's not one film, or maybe even 6 years, there's not one film in that which I would take out of my filmography and say, yeah, ye maine kyun ki? Not one. So for me, that's a big achievement. And I say, theek hai, it didn't do well, but what went wrong with it? And in retrospect, when you see it, you will know, okay, fine, maybe it was a bit too slow, maybe it was a bit indulgent, maybe I should have done this a bit differently. Okay, but at that point, it felt right to you, and it felt right to you, and you did it, and you had a good time making it, and that's what's important. So, yeah, you can't hold that and say, what you, yes, can get stuck in being monotonous, and that's something I hate. So you try to do different things from the work that you choose, and the kind of characters that you want to portray and play, and the scripts that you go into. And if that's exciting and that's what I look for, so, and I luckily am getting that, those kind of parts, getting different kind of films and characters to portray and play. And if I can lose myself in a character, then that's what I really love.
Because after Daddy, nail polish comes across as something totally not an expected call from an Arjun Rampal. Because maybe we are too used to seeing you in a certain mold of either romancing or action or a villainous act. So nail polish was a refreshing change when I saw it, and that was on the very first day of New Year's. Uh,
Yeah.
Now that it has been received so well, and it also happened to break one of the jinx where we say the first release of the year never works and people
Yeah.
don't appreciate it. How do
Yeah.
you feel, Arjun, starting 2021 on a good note?
I mean, after 2020 to started 2021 like this, I think it's God sent, and I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful that people have accepted, loved, understood, participated with a creation of a man who's Bugs Bhargava, our director, who it took a lot of convincing for him to get me on board, to get Manav on board, to get Andy on board, to do a film during COVID times. For me, as I have a 1-year-old baby at home, I don't think I want to go out. It's just too risky. And Manav was like, "मैं ये कैसे करूँगा? Will I be able to do it or not do it? Are you sure? I'm scared." Everybody had their apprehensions, and this one man, Bugs, he his passion for it, his conviction on the story, and his process of how he works with actors, where he allows them to participate in creating their characters, and the graphs of the characters, was so refreshing, so good. We did so many readings together. We became really good friends along the way. And as I said, it's that process. If you've had a good process of doing something will go right. And with failures, again, I'll come to one more thing. Like I always give this example, like Thomas Edison, the guy who gave us light and light bulbs. Imagine कितने light bulbs उसने fuse किए होंगे, or must have blown up before he got to the right light bulb. हमारा भी वैसी ही journey है. हर इंसान की वैसी journey है. You can't give up. But each light bulb that he blew taught him what not to do with the next one. you know
That's lovely.
so yeah, so like that, I think with all our experiences and expertise, we sat, and the most amazing part of the thing was that every time we read the script together, we did a reading, each one would come up with new suggestions, not only for their characters but for other people's characters as well. यू नो कि अरे ये तो बहुत बुरी तरह बोल रहा है, इसको ये मत बोलने दो इसके लाइन काट दो या ये बहुत अच्छी तरीके से बोल रहा है, या यहाँ पर मेरे को लगता है इसको ये बोलना चाहिए. I think here he's falling weak, or this part he should be lifted. You know what I mean? And the writer was there, Bugs was there, and they listened to everything. They would then, have conversations with each other, and every time we'd have a new draft And we did 7 readings. We had 7 new drafts till we reached a final draft. And then we were on set shooting. And by that time, nobody was looking at the script. Everybody just knew what was going on.
Uh, Arjun, allow me to ask, when you penned down your last post for 2020, bidding farewell to the year, it it started a very different kind of conversation, which was, I don't think people were reading too much between the lines. I don't know why it happened so. Uh, uh, it was framed across that you were pointing out at people somewhere that, nobody stood by in tough times in 2020 when you had to go through a certain phase. Uh, do you think it was taken out of the context when you put that last message on social media?
They want to read it, they should read my what I've written, not what other people are writing about what I've written. Because it's out there in writing. So uh,
That's why I'm
it,
asking, because
yeah,
you
so
wrote it pretty much
it's a
clearly. So I thought
so
I'll ask you.
yeah, so it was like 2020 when I also did it. Maybe I should have also kind of explained a bit better, and maybe that I didn't get right. Was not just 2020 as the year, it was like 2020 and 20 years of my being in the industry. So it was like a pun on 2020 as well. So it's 2020 and 20 years being completed. So it was just it was actually, it all started with me. I like to write notes. So I was just writing notes to myself, and I have a whole diary filled with lots of notes, but which I write to myself or my thoughts or whatever it is. And when I was writing it about 2020, because what happened in 2020 gave us a lot of time to introspect, to see so much that was going on. A lot of I think it was a huge learning experience for all. And that's why I called it the learning. It kind of was a cleansing year. There was a lot of nonsense. There was a lot of goodness. There was a pandemic. There was a lot of suffering. And then there was a lot of nobility where people came up and were helping, and the charities that were happening and people going out of their way, the frontline workers going out there every single day, and us coming out and banging our plates, doing all those kind of things, and then being into ugliness and hatred, and a lot of that as well, and I was trying to summarize what it was, my experiences have been over 20 years, and how it culminates with 2020. And people, if they see it like that, then maybe they'll understand it. Just a note from my heart. Okay, I've experienced a lot. I've had quite a crazy 2020. And if people see it like that, maybe they will understand that better.
Arjun, this is something, you as a parent and as a partner, and you have 3 kids, when things, get blown out of context in media, you have been part and parcel of the industry. How people write and present news is these days very different. It is not something which I think any one of us has seen in the last couple of years. Everything just goes to another notch. How difficult does it get as a person, not just as an actor, I would ask, that when you come back home and you have to explain maybe things to the kids, and there's a, you know, the kids also get surrounded by the kind of negativity, the family gets worried. Does it become difficult? You have to literally code down everything which is around you.
No, I think the most important thing is to explain to them the truth. There's nothing more solid or more important than the truth. And when all the dust settles, the only thing that remains is the truth. So, and that's what I tell them. And they're strong children, they're smart children, they know me, we know each other. It's not that they're living with strangers. And yes, there are a lot of truths that get exposed, a lot of truths that come out. And, I believe in my truth. So for me, I have no fear whatsoever.
That's lovely. Wishing you a prosperous year, Arjun. Don't stop with the good work. You have really
Thank,
kick-started on a really high note. So we're
thank
just
you.
hoping by the next time we meet, we have more exciting work to discuss. And thank you
Thank you
for your
so much.
time.
It was lovely chatting with you. And all the best, and have
Same
a
here.
great year ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.